Good evening. Welcome to Kenya News Update today. In our special 12-minute deep dive, we examine a provocative conclusion to a global business series that's challenging conventional wisdom. The series is called Zero to Revenue: Build a Business in 90 Days. Tonight, we explore its epilogue, titled From Assumptions to Evidence: The Only Proof That Pays. This isn't just another motivational talk, it's a forensic audit of entrepreneurship itself. We'll debate its core thesis, connect it to real-world data from Kenya and beyond, and ask, is treating your business like a case file the key to unlocking real revenue? I'm your host, and joining me tonight are two experts with opposing views. First, Dr. Amina Okoth, a professor of entrepreneurship at the University of Nairobi, who sees immense value in this evidence-based approach. And second, Mr. C. Laz Mwangi, a serial entrepreneur and founder of 3 successful tech startups who believes instinct and agility are being undervalued. Let's begin with the central argument. The epilogue, authored by Professor Markantho Nyanze, makes a bold claim right from the start. It states, most business advice is poetry. It makes you feel brave. It gives you slogans. It sells hope in bulk. Dr. Okoth, you've studied this series. Is this a fair characterization of the business advice landscape? Dr. Okoth, it's a harsh but necessary critique. For too long, the narrative around startups, especially in our digital age, has been dominated by inspirational stories that skip the grueling, unsexy work of validation. We celebrate the zero to hero arc, but ignore the months, sometimes years, of failed assumptions that preceded success. This series insists we document those failures as evidence, not just as setbacks. It's moving from a mindset of I believe to I have proof. Mr. Mwangi, you've built companies. Does this case file approach resonate with your experience, or does it sound like academic overcomplication? Mr. Mwangi, with respect to the professor, it sounds like a great way to build a report, not a business. When I started my first company, the market was moving faster than any case file I could compile. My proof was a customer saying yes and handing over cash. The idea of cross-examining every assumption for 90 days is a luxury most entrepreneurs don't have. You need to act, to iterate, to pivot, sometimes on a daily basis. Poetry, as he calls it, provides the fuel to take those leaps. Let's examine what this evidence looks like in practice. The series proposes a 90-day framework, broken into distinct phases of validation. The first 30 days are dedicated solely to problem validation. Not building, not branding, but proving a painful problem exists for a specific group of people. The target? To have conversations with at least 100 potential customers. Dr. Okoth, why is this number, 100 conversations, so critical as an initial metric? Dr. Okoth, it's about statistical significance and pattern recognition. Talking to 10 people might give you a skewed view. Talking to 100 forces you to listen for recurring themes, genuine pain points, and the language customers themselves use. It transforms your idea from a solution looking for a problem into a problem begging for a solution. It's the first piece of hard evidence in the file. Mr. Mwangi, and while you're having those 100 conversations, your competitor who started building on day one is already launching their beta. Speed is evidence too. Market presence is evidence. First mover advantage, while not everything, is a tangible asset. The risk is that you become a professional interviewer instead of a business builder. The next phase, days 31 to 60, is solution validation. Here, the entrepreneur must create a minimum viable proof, not a full product, but the simplest thing that demonstrates the core solution. The key metric shifts from conversations to commitments. The series suggests aiming for at least 50 pre-orders or letters of intent with a target value of, say, $5,000. This is where theory meets the first real financial test. Let's visualize this critical transition from talk to tangible interest. Now, this is where the debate gets heated. The final 30 days, days 61 to 90, are for delivery validation. It's about fulfilling that initial promise to those first 50 customers. The ultimate metric, revenue. Not projected revenue, not potential revenue, but cash in the bank. The series argues that without this, all prior validation is just an interesting hypothesis. Mr. Mwangi, isn't this exactly what you champion, getting to revenue as fast as possible? Mr. Mwangi, the goal is correct, but the rigid timeline is the problem. For some businesses, especially hardware or deep tech, 90 days is impossible. For a simple software service, it might be too long. My issue is with the dogma of the 90-day calendar. It should be a mindset of urgency, not a prison sentence. What if on day 89 you have 49 committed customers and need one more week for 50? Have you failed? According to this framework, yes, that's counterproductive. Dr. Okoth, but the framework provides discipline. It creates a forcing function. Without a deadline, validation can become procrastination. The 90 days isn't arbitrary. It's a sprint designed to build momentum and create irreversible momentum. That first revenue, however small, is the most important evidence of all. It proves someone is willing to pay for your solution. It changes everything psychologically for the founder. To ground this in our local context, let's consider a pressing national issue that perfectly illustrates the cost of operating without evidence. Our third source tonight reports that Kenya loses a staggering amount, at least 10 billion shillings annually, due to water leakages, illegal abstractions, and poor infrastructure. Water Cabinet Secretary Eric Muga calls this non-revenue water. This is a catastrophic failure of validation and evidence at a systemic level. The assumption was that treated water would reach consumers. The evidence, year after year, shows it does not. Billions are spent on treatment, but the business of delivering water is failing its customers due to a leaky product. Dr. Okoth, can we apply the case file mentality to a public sector challenge like this? Dr. Okoth, absolutely. This is a profound example. The government's water service is, in essence, a business with customers who pay bills. The non-revenue water figure is a damning piece of evidence in the case file. It directly contradicts the assumption of efficient delivery. A 90-day sprint for a utility might involve validating where the worst leaks are, testing new monitoring technologies in a small district, and measuring the reduction in lost water and the increase in revenue collected. It's about treating public service with the same accountability we demand from a startup. Mr. M1G, you've worked with government contracts. Is this realistic, or is the scale and bureaucracy too immense for this kind of agile, evidence-based approach? Mr. M1G, the scale is different, but the principle is sound. The problem is incentives. In a startup, the founder feels the direct pain of no revenue. In a public system, the loss is diffuse. Who owns the case file for the 10 billion shilling loss? Until someone's performance review and budget are tied directly to reducing that number, it remains a statistic, not a solvable problem. The series is right that evidence is the only proof that pays, but it only pays if someone is listening to the verdict. Let's return to the mathematical heart of this series, the concept of zero. Our second source is a Wikipedia entry on zero, describing it as a number representing an empty quantity and the additive identity. In business terms, zero is the starting line, no customers, no revenue, no proven model. Series argues you must intimately understand this zero, this emptiness, before you can truly build from it. Adding zero to any number leaves it unchanged. In business, adding activity to a flawed assumption leaves the flawed assumption unchanged. Only evidence can change the equation. This brings us to a core tension. The series promotes a methodical, almost scientific process, but entrepreneurship is often portrayed as an art, a realm of visionaries and disruptors. Are these two views incompatible? Dr. Okoth, they are complementary. The science provides the rigor, the art provides the vision. You start with the artistic vision, the what if, then you use the scientific method to stress test it. The evidence either strengthens your vision or forces you to refine it. The greatest entrepreneurs, when you study them, are masterful at gathering and interpreting evidence about human behavior and market gaps. Mr. M1G, I agree they can work together, but I believe the series gives too little credit to the art. The instinct to see a gap before it can be proven by 100 interviews is artistic. The courage to bet on a trend that the data hasn't caught up to yet is artistic. Evidence looks backward. Entrepreneurship must look forward. You need both, but you can't process map the spark of insight. So, who is this approach for? The aspiring founder with an idea. The struggling small business owner? The corporate innovator? The epilogue suggests it's universal. It's a mindset of intellectual humility. It's about replacing I think with I know because. Let's consider the potential pitfalls. One major criticism is that this process could lead to analysis paralysis, where the fear of not having enough evidence prevents any action. Another is that it might stifle truly disruptive ideas that don't fit into existing customer interview patterns. How do our guests weigh these risks? Dr. Okoth, the framework is a guardrail against paralysis, not a cause of it. It gives you clear, small, sequential tasks. Find 100 people, talk to them. It's action-oriented. The risk of stifling disruption is real, but even disruptive ideas solve a human problem. The Wright brothers didn't ask people if they wanted an airplane. They validated the principles of flight through relentless experimentation. That was their evidence. Mr. M1G, my concern is for the entrepreneur who gets a no from 99 people but has a gut feeling about the 100th. The framework says pivot. The artist says persevere. History is full of examples where the 100th person was right. The evidence-based approach needs a clause for conviction that contradicts the data, at least temporarily. As we near the end of our deep dive, let's look at the global implications. In a world of rapid change, economic uncertainty, and digital transformation, Is this forensic, evidence-based approach to business creation becoming not just valuable, but essential for economic resilience? Could it be a blueprint for reducing the high failure rate of new ventures worldwide? The series makes a compelling case that it can. It argues that treating your business plan as a collection of testable hypotheses turns failure from a catastrophe into a data point. You don't fail, your hypothesis is disproven, and you adjust. This builds antifragility. Finally, we come to the epilogue's powerful closing thought: the record, the verdict, and the next 90 days. It suggests this isn't a one-time exercise. Building a business is a continuous cycle of creating records, rendering verdicts, and committing to the next sprint. It's a lifelong practice of evidence-based iteration. Dr. Okoth, your final take. Should every aspiring entrepreneur from Nairobi to New York adopt this case file mentality? Dr. Okoth, unequivocally, yes. It is the most responsible way to deploy your time, your passion, and often other people's money. It turns passion into a professional pursuit. It is the antidote to the poetry of empty promises. Mr. Mwangi, your final word? Is there a middle ground? Mr. Mwangi, adopt the spirit, not the scripture. Be obsessed with evidence, especially the evidence of revenue. But don't let a process manual override your unique insight into the market you're serving. Build your case file, but remember you are both the detective and the visionary architect of the solution. The truth, as always, likely lies in the synthesis. The zero to revenue epilogue challenges us to elevate our thinking, to demand proof, and to respect the gravity of building something from nothing. In a country like Kenya, where innovation is crucial for solving our own challenges, from water loss to job creation, this rigorous approach could be the key to building sustainable solutions that truly work. It reminds us that in business, as in mathematics, zero is a powerful place to start, but only if you have a disciplined plan to move beyond it. Thank you to Dr. Amina Okoth and Mr. Silas Mwangi for a fascinating debate. For our viewers, we want to hear from you. Is your business or idea a work of poetry or a case file? Share your thoughts with us online. Until next time, for Kenya News Update Today, I'm your host. Subscribe to Kenya News Update Today.